I can boogie. Celtic and the SPFL are finally landed on Sorare. I've been waiting for this for months, years really at this point. The rumour mill went absolutely crazy about January, February when all the leaked images came out. So we knew it was on the cards for a little while. I thought it was going to happen end of March. It's happening on 4/20. 20th of April, if you know what that means. It's a great day for it to launch. And guys, I'm not making any stretch of the imagination here to say this is a monumentally massive marketing deal for the SPFL and Celtic. Sorare Global Fantasy Football has got players all across the world, and the great thing about Sorare Global Fantasy Football is it brings teams from everywhere, and there's all sorts of dynamics and plays going on, and all sorts of cult fandoms have popped up all across the world thanks to Sorare, with people getting exposed to football they would never previously watch. And I think it cannot be underestimated how powerful this marketing deal is going to be. So as soon as this got announced, I cancelled my whole morning. I had to get into the Sorare TV studios and cut a video to go through my thoughts, see the implications on the market, have a look at the first couple of auctions, have a wee unbox and see everything that's going on. We've got the Celtic attack stack officially in town to take down the Ajax dominance that we've had for the last, feels like eternity. We've got all sorts of new budget teams. I can't wait to see all the stories that are going to develop and come out of the SPFL being on Sorare. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, guys, and hit the notification bell. There'll be plenty of live streams coming out. There'll be a members live stream later today as well, going through all of this kind of stuff and much more. I'll be recording a latest episode of the End Product podcast with me, Tony Watt, and Plastician. That will be released on Friday, as well as all the other stuff that's going on the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and retweet and all that good stuff. If you're watching this and you've not got a clue what Sorare is, how it works, what it's all about, etc., I've got a playlist in the description of this video that will walk you through all the basics, teach you how the game works, make sure you get set up with a free card and all the extra free stuff that goes along with the game that isn't all overly obvious that you have access to. So that's all down there in the description. I'll look after you, don't worry. All that goes back to supporting the content here at the channel, and I do my best with monthly giveaways to sort you guys out before supporting the content. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble and let's get stuck into it. If you could hit the subscribe button, I do daily global football content, everything from Wonder Kids and Rising Star Managers to fantasy football and watch-alongs. That will also automatically enter you into my April giveaway. This month, I'm giving away a 1 of 100 Belgium Youth International, Ewood Pletinch, and 2 limited goalkeepers. If you want to stick around to the end of the video, we'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Now, I genuinely just don't even know where to start. I'm just so excited. It feels like, you know, you're waiting for Christmas for so long, and then when it finally comes, you're like, oh, how does this work? What did I do? It's happened, you know. So I've been looking at auctions myself, and you know, it's funny for me personally. Like, I've been kind of gearing up for this since the rumor mill started going off, but equally, I've been taking advantage of a lot of opportunities in the market for my own personal strategy. So I'm definitely slightly behind the 8 ball in terms of being ready to go and attack some of the big cards that I would have my eyes on for this. But I think probably the best place to start for this is how anyone who's interested in playing Sorare can take advantage of maybe some SPFL action. Okay, now I follow Celtic to the cows come home, right? So I can talk to you about that, no problem whatsoever. In terms of the rest of the SPFL, a lot of friends of the channel, we will be doing content. There'll be live streams later today, as I mentioned, not to mention the podcast will be out on Friday. So stay tuned for some more expert analysis, and of course, you know, I'll get up to speed quick enough, and you know, we'll get through all that stuff in due course. But we'll get through the kind of the surface level basics of the SPFL and the utility options that we've got for playing Sorare with it. Now, thankfully, I've been an eager beaver, and I had a wee bit of a stumbling block on my gallery because, like, 6 months ago or so, when Celtic, 8 months ago, when we were buying all these players, I was like cutting my face off on deals to get ETH together to go and snap buy all these guys from the market as they were happening. Thankfully, the Rio Hatate and the Jota, I'd already had them from when they were like a couple of quid. So I managed to, because they're NFTs, I can, you know, each asset is individually kind of, it's almost getting like a fingerprint, if you like. So I was able to go and buy back the exact cards that I had previously owned and had some XP with and won some stuff in tournaments with already. Because I just like that kind of thing, you know. So that was quite cool. That was a nice coincidence as well that 2 players I identified as good value for money, just low budget youth guys, had actually been picked up by Celtic. So that was great for me personally. But thankfully, I've got a lot of firepower here already, and I think when it comes to the SPFL, when you look at the league as a whole, outside of Celtic and Rangers, there's no team that really stands out as being amazing defensively. The SPFL, when you can talk about the relative standard of it across the world of football, and thanks to SO5, we'll be able to compare it in a nice kind of level playing field as time goes on, I'm sure. But there's not a lot of teams here that jump out with the record they've had this season as being a defensive force. The pitches of Scotland, the way football's played in Scotland as it is, end to end, and teams are expected to score, teams are expected to attack. And because of, and again, we've got VAR coming into the SPFL for next season, so we might see some real differences in terms of the amount of penalties that are awarded, etc. Because sometimes the standard of refereeing has been lackluster, to say the least. So maybe we'll see something of that. But of course, when you look at Celtic and Rangers are not actually in this deal, and I don't know why. Sorare said something in one of their tweets to the tune of like Rangers are compromised, like they're already signed up with something else, or they're already stuck with commitments they cannot break or be in conflict with. So the rest of the SPFL, in terms of the extra exposure to fandom and the revenue share, because when these cards are sold on the Sorare market, these clubs are all cut in on it, so that every club but Rangers is now got an extra revenue source. It's just, I don't know what else they're tied up in, but hey ho, it is what it is. But the thing when you look across the Scottish League primarily is typically you'll have a Celtic or Rangers player or two really dominate the goal scoring charts. Not this year for different tactical reasons and whatnot, but generally speaking, a lot of these teams in the SPFL don't typically have a massive talisman that will go and get 25, 30 goals a season. A lot of these teams will have a bunch of players that will contribute between like 3 to 8 goals, and then maybe 1 or 2 that can break 10. So it gives a good opportunity for decisive actions to be spread around a lot of these clubs. And I think, the cheap option for a lot of people when they come in, because Sorare is 5-a-side global fantasy football, okay? So just to give you a little preview, if you are a new person here watching along, these are my teams for the weekend. The deadline hasn't came yet because we're still on Wednesday or whatever. But it's a 5-a-side. You pick a goalkeeper, a defender, a midfielder, and a forward, and then you get an extra space. In all the divisions, we've got different criteria for whatever the card is. Like I said in the intro, there's content in the description of the video that explain everything in much more detail for you. There's a lovely picture of a Jota Super Rare here on the main menu, but he's not even got a card yet in a Celtic shirt, but the Jota Super Rare looks disgustingly nice. But the way a lot of people will try and get into Sorare in terms of moving up a level, especially if you're trying to go from playing nothing to playing limiteds, or you're looking at limiteds to the gold cards, if you're looking to go from limited to rare, which is the red, or rare pro, which will include some blues, some super rares, then when a new division comes on board, there's always going to be those diamond in the rough opportunities. You filter by premiership on the market, and also you'll be doing your own scouting off-site for statistics and that kind of thing as well. Something you'll need to be mindful of is the way the auction cycles work, is especially with the rares, there's going to be a real bottleneck on supply for that, basically until next season. Because they're starting so late, there's only 5 games left. Typically, Sorare will turn down auctions and prize rewards, etc. when leagues go dormant, when they go off-season. So at the moment, for example, I've just grabbed Halliday because he's just the first player whose name I thought was kind of recognisable that was on the screen. He's got 6 rares up. Once these 6 rares go over the next 2 days or so, I'd probably expect to see a couple come out in rewards over the next month, maybe about another 5 or 6 maybe, depending on what tier he falls into, of course, and then maybe like an auction a week or so, maybe 2 auctions a week. It won't be mega, it's not going to be batches of 6 for rares and such. So especially for rares, if you're looking to get some of these guys in, make sure you look after the guys that stand out in your scouting reports for what you need into your team and get them as a priority, because the rares especially are going to be quite sporadic in terms of when they get auctions. Limiteds, fortunately, I think there's always going to be plenty of supply on auction for these, so you can kind of get who you want. I don't think there's too much of a rush for day one buys, unless you're like a fan of a team. You're after like a jersey number, like number 9 of 1,000 for the number 9 of your team or whatever, or the one of, if you're a big fan of any of these teams in particular, you can definitely go and do that. But otherwise, I think there's so many limiteds available for such, for where we are right now. They are on the old card design because it is the 21-22 season mint of these cards, so these will be the only ones, however much they get out between now and the new season cards whenever they come out, which will probably be September or something, that will look like this. So they will also have some sort of collector value going further down the road if you suspect Sorare continues to grow and kick on. The great thing about a lot of SPFL clubs, especially good players, once they get to good Scottish players, or maybe other players that Scottish teams bring in from like Scandinavia, etc., a lot of these players who do leave Scotland, who are good players, a lot of them can end up in the Championship, a lot of them can end up in established Challenger Euro leagues already, which is why some people already have access to some former players of a team of theirs, or that kind of idea. So it can be a really good league for maybe penetrating yourself into other regions, or even just getting a stronger foothold within a region. You know, if you get a guy at like Dundee United who was then to move to Anderlecht or something like that, or, you know, like we've seen in the past, Aaron Hickey moving from Hearts to Bologna and then became a Champ Euro under 23 fullback. You know, so the league has got some potential for some of these cards. It does seem the way the auctions are going is the full complement of squads are not released. They're doing it in batches. We've seen it done before with the K-League and MLS, etc. in the past, where it feels like maybe 2 or 3 concrete waves of releases. So if there's people you're identifying that aren't coming up on auction, just hang tight. They probably will come, especially when you look and they do have an existing picture but no card. Jota at Celtic is going to be an amazing card, isn't he? There's only Benfica ones at the moment, but yeah. So just to give you an example, for me personally, guys, like, I'm really looking at my gallery now, and I've had like the ripcord ready to go for this kind of event. So I've already kind of earmarked the kind of non-core strategy parts of my gallery, and this is something I do want to touch on for the Sorare players watching this. Is like, you know, the thing that bugbears me the most on timeline, on Twitter or Discord or anything like that, so when I see people who are new to the game, especially, like, really hard change direction when something happens, maybe an injury, or maybe they just fall out of love with Challenger Euro, now they want to play Champion Asia or whatever it might be. Because when you make these hard turns towards something new and shiny or whatever, it will always cost you more than if you just wait and patiently wait for a comfortable entry point into it. So unfortunately, I've actually been strengthening my club up over the last couple of months. I must have spent about 4 or 5 ETH on upgrades to my existing kind of Champion Euro complement, and I'm very happy I did that, and I won't be ripping up the strategy on any of that, but it has forced me into looking at the non-core strategy parts, and it's like, right, well, this is a great opportunity for me to get on some SPFL cards and some Celtic cards that I've been long waiting for, and just go for it, because at the end of the day, it is about your fandom. You know, I'll be going to way more Celtic games thanks to this hookup, hopefully, you know. So I just, honestly, I cannot wait to get stuck right into the deep end with all things Celtic, SPFL, on top of all the content that I've been doing already across all of European football. MLS has kind of suffered over the last kind of month or two because I have been so deep in Europe, but MLS will be returning, and I'm looking to get stuck right more into South America. So, like, honestly, guys, the content of the channel is going to go parabolic, you know, so I hope you have enjoyed this kind of little preamble video, if you like. I'm just high as a kite. I cannot believe it's finally here. Let me know in the description down below, guys, your thoughts. What team are you targeting? What player have you identified? How much would you spend on a Tony Watt autograph card? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and retweet, and all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's get into all the giveaway stuff before I let you go. I'm still doing monthly giveaways, and I'm making it easier to enter. If you want to be entered to win this month's prize or any future giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, you need to be a subscriber to enter, then leave a comment down below. Each month, a random comment from a random video will be selected as the winner, so the more videos you leave a comment on, the better the chance you've got of winning any of my giveaways. All the winners are announced at the end of videos the same way as we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video today, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. On screen now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.